Namaste students, I am Shobha, Science faculty from Mangala Vidya Mandira. Today let us start with a new chapter, Structure of Atoms. Already in the previous chapter we have studied something about atoms and molecules. Let us study in depth about atoms in this chapter. All the matter is made up of a smallest individual unit called as atoms. And these atoms have three types of subatomic particles. They are called as protons, electrons and neutrons. Electrons are negatively charged, protons are positively charged and the neutrons doesn't have any charge. The mass of electron is equal to 1 by 2000 times the mass of the hydrogen atoms. Hence, the proton is also equal to the mass of hydrogen atom and hence it is taken as unit 1. You know students, mass of proton and mass of electron will be almost the same. But the mass of neutron is equal to the mass of hydrogen atom and it is also taken as unit 1 unit of hydrogen. Atoms are made up of small particles, as we know, electrons, protons and neutron. An atom consists of a cloud of electrons surrounding a dense nucleus which is made up of protons and neutrons. Electrons and protons have a property called as electric charge because electrons are negatively charged and the protons are positively charged, so they have a force of attraction between them, so there will be an electric charge. This affects the way they interact with each other and the electrically charged particles. Here you can see different models of the atoms where you are having the central nucleus made up of protons and neutrons and surrounding it is having the electrons which is revolving around the nucleus. Now let us move to the nucleus of the atom. An atom consists of cloud of electrons surrounding a small dense nucleus of protons and neutrons. The nucleus contains nearly all of the mass of the atoms, but it occupies only a tiny fraction of space inside an atom. The diameter of a typical nucleus is only about 1 into 10 power minus 14 meter, or you can call it about 1 by 100 thousandths of the diameter of the entire atom. So, the space occupied by the nucleus is very small. Let us now move to the electrons. Electrons were discovered by Sir J.J. Thomson. Electrons are tiny, negatively charged particles around the nucleus of an atom. Each electron carries a single fundamental unit of negative electric charge, that is minus 1.62 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, and has a mass of 9.109 into 10 power minus 31 kg. The electron is one of the lightest particles with a known mass. Electrons cannot be split into anything smaller. Also, electrons do not have any real size but are instead true. Electrons do not point in space, that is, an electron has radius of 0. Neutrons. Neutrons was discovered by Sir James Chadwick. The neutron is slightly heavier than proton and 1838 times as heavy as electron. Neutrons, electrically neutral elementary particle, that is a part of the nucleus of an atom. The neutron is about 10 raised to minus 13 centimeter in diameter and weighs approximately 1.6749 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Let us move to the protons. Protons are the tiny particles which are extremely tiny particles. Protons and neutrons are in the center of an atom making up the nucleus. Electrons are surrounding the nucleus. Protons have positive charge and its charge and its mass is given below. So now let us see the rules for determining the number of subatomic particles. The number of protons, neutrons and electrons in an atom can be determined by the simple set of rules. First one, The number of protons in the nucleus of an atom is always equal to the number of electrons, and it will be called as atomic number, represented by Z. The number of electron is neutral atom is equal to the number of protons. So, in a neutral atom, always number of proton will be equal to number of electron. So, only if the atom is charged, that is if at all it is becoming a cation or anion, then only the number of protons and electrons varies, or else always remember number of protons will be equal to number of electrons in a neutral atom, and it is called as atomic number, represented by Z. The mass number of an atom is equal to the sum of the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus. Total number of protons plus total number of neutrons, or you can call total number of an electron plus total number of neutrons. Both are one and the same. It is represented by M, or sometimes it is also represented by A, capital A. The number of neutron is equal to the difference between the mass number of an atom, that is A or M, and atomic number Z. So these are the difference between protons and electrons. Now let us move to the models of atom. Different scientists have proposed different models for the atomic structure. Among them, the first one is Thomson's model of an atom. According to Sir Joseph model of an atom, Joseph Thomson model of an atom, it consists of positively charged particles here, and electrons are embedded in it. The negative and the positive charges are equal in magnitude. As a result, the atom is neutral. Thomson proposed that the atom of an structure of an atom is similar to that of the Christmas pudding or watermelon. Like in the watermelon, you can see the reddish part is all compared to the positive charge. It is the bed of positive charge, and the black seeds is compared to the electron. Similarly, Christmas pudding is all the same thing. So where the cake will be compared to the positive charge, and the fruits, the dry fruits will be compared to the negatively charged electron. Later on, another scientist called as Rutherford came, and he proposed this model. According to Rutherford's model, an atom consists of positively charged particles in the center, and which is called as nucleus. The mass of an atom is contributed mainly by the nucleus. The size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom. The electrons will be revolving around the nucleus in a well-defined orbit. It is almost similar to the acceptable model, but here he says electrons are revolving in the undefined pathway, like well defined pathway, but it is not acceptable. That is a drawback. Any particle in a circular orbital could undergo acceleration, and during acceleration the charged particles could radiate some energy. So the revolving electron would lose some energy, and they may fall into the nucleus, and the atom would be unstable and they get collapsed. Like when the electron is moving around the nucleus, it will lose some energy. Once it loses some energy, it has to fall inside the nucleus, and the entire atom has to be collapsed. So this Rutherford model was not been accepted. So later on, it was the Bohr, Niels Bohr, who gave the 3D model of the atom. Bohr agreed with almost all the points which was said by Rutherford. Like as I said also, Rutherford said almost all the points correctly except that electrons revolving in the well-defined orbit. Rutherford, that is Bohr, accepted all the properties or all the points said by Rutherford except regarding the revolution of the electrons, for which he added that there are only certain orbits known as discrete orbits inside the atoms in which electrons can revolve around the nucleus. While revolving in its discrete orbits, the electrons will not radiate, will not lose energy, hence it will not get collapsed. So this is the Rutherford-Bohr's model, where he shows the central nucleus is there and the electrons will not liberate or leaves any energy. So how many electrons can be there in each of the orbits? That is the next question. So the distribution of electron is different shells are suggested by Neil Bohr and Bury. The following is the conditions or the rules which we should be followed. The maximum number of electrons in each shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n stands for the shell number, that is K shell 1, L shell it is number 2, and M shell it is 3, and N shell it's 4. So if you calculate it, you will get maximum of 2 electrons can be occupied in K shell, similarly 8 in L shell, 18 in M shell, and 32 in N shell. The maximum number of electrons that can be filled in the outermost shell is 8. The electrons cannot be filled in the shells unless the inner shells are being filled. Only if the first shell has been filled, then only the second shell starts filling up. Similarly, if you go for the maximum number of electrons in the shells is given by the formula, so you can go for that. The stability of the atom depends upon its octet state. Here it is a list of some atoms. It's a symbol, atomic number, number of protons, electrons and neutrons, and how many electrons are distributed in each shell. That is K shell, M, L and M shell, and finally it is valency. That is what we are going to study now. What is valency? Is a combining capacity of an atom in an element. The electrons present in the outermost shell of an atom are called as valence electrons. If an atom's outermost shell is completely filled, they are called inert or least reactive, and their combining capacity will be 0. That is, valency will be 0. They do not tend to combine with any other atoms or elements. Of the inert elements, helium atom has 2 electrons in the outermost shell, and the other atoms are having 8 electrons, like neon, argon, krypton. They are also inert gas elements where they do not react with anything, but it is having 8 electrons. Only helium is having 2 electrons in it. If the atom's outermost shell is not completely filled, it is not stable. It will try to attain the stability either by losing or gaining, or by sharing the electrons with the other atoms to obtain octet configuration. The number of electrons lost, gained or shared by an atom to attain octet configuration is the combining capacity, or is called as the valency of an atom. So this we have already discussed, like hydrogen, lithium, sodium atoms can easily lose 1 electrons and it becomes stable, hence its valency is 1. Whereas magnesium can lose 2 electrons, hence its valency is 2. Aluminium can easily lose 3 electrons, hence its valency is 3. But carbon shares the 4 electrons, hence its valency is 4. Here carbon does not donate, it just shares the 4 electrons. So these are the different atomic structures of first 18 elements, where you can come to know about its atomic number, mass number, number of electrons, number of protons, and also you can come to know about valence electrons and valency. This is the difference between atomic number Z and mass number A. Here you can see the first image of the hydrogen bond, that is a bond between the 2 hydrogen atoms. So finally we have to come to the last 2 topics, that is isotopes and isobars. Isotopes are the atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number. The best known example is hydrogen. Hydrogen has 3 isotopes. One is protium, deuterium and tritium. So all the 3 isotopes are having atomic number the same, that is 1, 1 and 1, but its mass number will be 1, 2 and 3. So it is because the number of neutrons will be varying, hence it is called as isotopes. Similarly, carbon also has 2 isotopes, students, that is carbon 12, carbon 13 and carbon 14. Actually it is having 3 isotopes. So isobars is totally different from isotopes. Isobars are the atoms having different atomic mass number, but it is having same atomic number will be the same, mass number will be the different, that is isotopes. Isobars is the one, it will be having same mass numbers but different atomic numbers. Like a best example is calcium. As you can see, calcium and argon, where its atomic number is 18 for argon and calcium is 20, but its mass number is 40 and 40. Similarly, there are several other example, like iron and nickel is also having different atomic number but the same mass number. So students, please remember, if the atoms are having same atomic number, different mass number, then it is isotopes. Same mass number but different atomic number, then it is called as isobars. Hope students you remember all the points whatever we have studied. Here it gives the difference between isobars and isotopes.